back to the Ultimate Seattle Sports Show. We are 100 days away from kicking off the NFL season, and apparently Russell Wilson will kick it off in the broadcast booth. Reports have it that he is getting close to finalizing his deal with CBS Sports, and he will be in the booth calling. Actually adding some color to the broadcasts, and so we'll see what happens. He's going to go from veteran quarterback to rookie broadcaster. Let's bring back Softy now. And Softy, some thoughts on Russell Wilson choosing his broadcast career and getting a start there instead of continuing his NFL career.
Yeah, over-under on cliches for the first broadcast for Russell Wilson. 48.5, you think, in the first quarter? I'll go over, way over. Man. Whatever the number is, give me the freaking over, and I'm betting the house on it, baby. I mean, look, it certainly sounds like his career's over, right? Yeah. I mean, guys can always come back out of the broadcast booth, and they can rejoin a team later on in life. But, I do know that making the Hall of Fame at one point was a kind of a goal of Russell Wilson's, a big deal for Russell Wilson, and I don't think there's anything he could have done between now and the rest of his career if he continued to play to earn a trip to the Hall of Fame. But I just wonder if this now cements the fact that Russell Wilson's going to fall short of the Hall of Fame, guys. I mean, Paul and Chris, if you look at where Russell Wilson, when he left Seattle, I guess you got to ask yourself, do you think Russell was a Hall of Famer when he left the Seahawks? If the answer is no, then he's done nothing since then to make the Hall of Fame. I mean, his QBR, for God's sake, since he left Seattle, is under 40, for crying out loud. He's been miserable. He's 17-27 as a starting quarterback since he left the Seahawks. So if you didn't think he was a Hall of Famer then, he's certainly not a Hall of Famer now. But look, I mean, good for him, right? We always known he's been good with the media, not great because it's just a bunch of cliches, obviously. But I do wonder how much he's going to maybe open up and maybe get a little more human as opposed to robotic now that he's going to be on TV. We'll see.
Yeah, and a good question. 10-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, been to the Super Bowl twice. But, yeah, you're right, Dave. When he left Seattle, it was all downhill after that, and I'm not quite sure those numbers in Seattle are going to be good enough to get him into the Hall of Fame.
Right. Yeah. But, guys, you know what? I mean, here's the real issue for Russell Wilson. It's hard to imagine a Hall of Fame quarterback who never got one MVP vote in his entire career. It's hard to imagine a Hall of Fame quarterback who never made first-team All-Pro, never got the MVP vote that we're talking about. And by the way, those Pro Bowls that you're talking about, Chris, a lot of those he made it as an alternate. By the way, okay?
And thank you. I mean, when you look at that, Softy, you look at the way they choose Pro Bowlers these days, and how many times they're alternates. You're right. Like, how much of the 10 is really worthy?
Right. Maybe half, maybe 4 or 5 of them, for God's sake. Right. So, yeah.
All right, guys, breaking news. The Russell Wilson news coming out this morning, also coming out for Tom Pelissero and Adam Schefter. The Browns are finalizing a trade that will send 2-time Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett to the Los Angeles Rams. In exchange for Garrett, the Rams are expected to send Pro Bowl edge Jared Verse, a 2027 first-round pick, and another draft pick. Compensation still being negotiated to the Browns. So that is Garrett, your Defensive Player of the Year, heading to the Rams. Verse heading to the Browns. I believe Verse was actually born in the Cleveland area, so he's heading back home. But our thoughts on this one, guys, the Defensive Player of the Year coming to the NFC West.
It's not good for the Hawks.
No.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys, right? I mean, I know a lot of Seahawks fans will say, oh, look at all the draft picks they gave up. Well, what's their phrase down there? FM picks, right, in L.A.? I mean, the Rams are better. The Rams are a better team than they were a year ago. It's not just Myles Garrett. It's Trent McDuffie. It's Jalen Watson. They addressed their secondary. Now they went out and got maybe the best edge rusher in the National Football League. Who knows how long Myles Garrett can hang on? Who knows if those draft picks, giving them all up, Paul, at some point will come back to bite the Rams in the butt. But if we're just talking about 2026 and the Seahawks' chances of repeating and winning the division and bringing home another Lombardi trophy, I think they just declined with the Rams getting Myles Garrett. I mean, again, this may not be long-term anything that you want to write home about, but for 2026, you're a fool if you don't think this makes the Rams better.
And there was no surprise that Garrett, he waived his no-trade clause. He wanted out of Cleveland. He's getting out of Cleveland. And, You're right. I mean, this is going to be a wild season ahead because the Rams are looking really good right now, guys.
I like what the Rams do. I like what they did. They saw what the Seahawks did last year, and they upgraded everything. And the fact that they lost the Seahawks and figured out a way. You know what? We've got to get better. We've got to go get some guys in here. They've got that win now mentality, and I love that about John Schneider as well. Remember, he gave up those draft picks to New Orleans to get Rashid Shaheed because he pushed in on this team and said, let's get the chips in the middle, let's go get this guy, and let's go make a run at the title. And I like that mentality, man. It's a win-now league, and the Seahawks have that mentality, and the Rams clearly have had that mentality because they know time's running out, especially with Matthew Stafford.
Well, Paul, think about how close the Hawks were to losing both those games to the Rams.
Right.
Actually, how close they were to losing all three of them, right? I mean, the first one, obviously, Darnold throws 4 picks and they lose. Had the Jason Garrett 61-yard field goal. The next one was that crazy Thursday night game without Zach Charbonnet picking that football up, by the way. Who knows how that game goes. And then the game where they needed the 4th down stop in the NFC Championship. So these are 3 teams that are right there, evenly matched, blade of a knife between these 3 teams. And now the Rams have gone out and they've improved, I think, the biggest weaknesses in a lot of ways on their football team. All we talked about heading into the NFC Championship was how bad that Rams secondary was, and Sam Darnold picked them apart. Well, they went out and got Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson from Kansas City, and now they got Myles Garrett. So I think right now on paper, the Rams are a better football team. We'll see what happens starting in September.
Okay, let's get you caught up on some Seahawks business. They signed their first-round pick, running back Jadarian Price, 4 years, worth roughly $16.8 million. That includes $8.8 million in a signing bonus. Seahawks assistant general manager Nolan Teasley leaves Seattle to become the new GM of the Vikings. He spent the past 13 seasons with the Seahawks, where he started as an intern. I love that story. He's been the assistant GM since 2023. The Hawks, this is big news for the Hawks because they do get 2 compensatory third-round picks in each of the next 2 drafts. So that's good news there. But congratulations to Nolan Teasley. And I just love that story, man. I love that a guy, we all have dealt with Seahawks interns over the years. Who knows when that next Nolan Teasley's coming around, but this guy goes from intern to GM. I think it's great, man.
And I believe that isn't their current team president, Chuck Arnold, isn't he a former intern as well with the Seahawks, right? So, heck, I was an intern. You guys probably were interns at one point back in the day, combined 150 years ago. But this is just like, it's another tentacle. If John Schneider were an octopus, you're cutting off another tentacle, right, to go run another NFL football team. The difference with John is that he just grows another tentacle, right? He just completely finds a way to replace that arm or that leg. And all these dudes that are sitting around the NFL that have taken off from the Seahawks front office to go run other franchises around the National Football League, you really do get the impression at some point, Paul and Chris, that one of them is going to come back and take John Schneider's role here in Seattle when he decides to retire one day.
It could happen.